Welcome to update number 2 on the Lackawanna cutoff. Looking to 2019. Hi, I'm Chuck Walsh, and I'm president of the North Jersey Rail Commuter Association. And we're here at the Polandskill Viaduct in Haynesburg, New Jersey. Of course, here's the Polandskill that runs under the Haynesburg Viaduct. We're here to look at the year 2019, but we're also going to look at the year 2018. Now, it so happens we're here on December 24th of 2018, the 107th anniversary, or birthday, if you will, of the opening of the cutoff. And actually, since we started this series, which now we're entering our 3rd year, we did our first episode, part 1, on the Polandskill Viaduct back in 2016. So we've done 20 parts a total and then 1 update. Now the updates are intended for an update as opposed to covering a full subject. So today we're going to talk about 2019, but 2018, there's really only one significant thing that occurred during 2018, and that occurred in June, and that was the agreement that was struck between Andover Township and Hudson Farm over the culvert, which is about 500 feet upstream from the station, the proposed station in Andover. That opened the door for eliminating all the issues that had previously existed with environmental permits and opened the door to construction beginning again, finally, now after almost 7 years of inactivity. Now, what we're being told is that New Jersey Transit, and this is behind the scenes, so you're not going to see anything tangible right now, we're talking about between what has happened in June of this year and today, that New Jersey Transit is working with outside contractors for designing and then eventually constructing Roosevelt Tunnel, the station at Andover, and also the culvert on Hudson Farm. The biggest project and the longest running project, which really drives the time frame, and that is Roosevelt Tunnel. That's a 2-year project. So as a result, as we now look into 2019, the question is, well, when does any construction begin, where you could actually see something happening on the right-of-way, as opposed to behind the scenes, which is ongoing at this point? Can't answer that question. Don't know exactly when that will take place. There is an issue, and we've talked about this before, and that has to do with the Indiana bat. There's a blackout period, if you will, where the clearing of brush and trees and stuff can't occur between April 1st and November 1st. So it looks as if we're going to miss any of that kind of activity, brush clearing, tree clearing in the right-of-way, at least until November this coming year. That's 2019. Now, those projects that don't require brush clearing, and this once again because of the Indiana mating season, which occurs between April and November, that if any of the project work could possibly involve something that doesn't involve brush clearing, that would be okay. But once again, we don't know exactly what New Jersey Transit has planned. So as we go into 2019, we know that rail service now, given Roosevelt Tunnel being a 2-year project, realistically we're looking at 2021 at the earliest. Hopefully not much beyond that. Maybe 2021 still is doable, but at this point that certainly is the earliest. Been talking about 2020 for the longest time. That's really gone by the wayside. So that's unfortunately the case. So at this point, as we do look into next year, we hope that there's going to be activity, but most importantly that there's even if the activity is behind the scenes, in other words, the work that has to be done, which isn't visible to the public per se. Now, as a person who's closer to the project than most people, I have to say that, I'm not the one doing all that behind the scenes work, but I'm close to that, I'll say. I can understand that those who are watching this video and who have been watching this project for years, in some cases certainly, can feel discouraged. This project historically has always required a certain degree of patience, even going back into the time after the $25 million was acquired for the acquisition of the right-of-way from Mr. Turco and Mr. Goldmeyer. That process alone, the eminent domain, the condemnation process, took 11 years. So I don't think that wasn't frustrating to just wait and wait and wait for that to take place, because nothing could really happen until the state had acquired the line. There was no way to possibly go forward. So now we say, okay, well, New Jersey Transit is now in charge. The DEP, the Department of Environmental Protection, is now out of the picture, which we like to think is good news, certainly, because the environmental permits have now been addressed. So the only thing now is to get the construction going and eventually, of course, get to the point where you can run rail service. When's that going to happen? Well, we will try to keep you up to date on any information we're able to obtain in terms of giving you a little more accurate prediction at this point as to when that'll begin, but also to keep on top of the activities that have to occur before that. There's a lot to happen. And we certainly will be working with the folks in the congressional delegation about this, the state delegation. I'm talking about the State Assembly and the State Senate, but I'm also talking about, of course, the U.S. Congress. So there are some reasons for optimism. I think we should try to keep a positive outlook on the situation. Nevertheless, once again, it's understandable how there could be discouragement. We all go through that. Anybody who's involved with this project feels that from time to time. It does take a long time, frustratingly long time, but nevertheless, as we enter the new year, 2019, once again, I think there is some reason for optimism, and keep your heads up. You know, it's well, there's different quotes I could use. These are the times that try men's souls and that kind of thing. Or my favorite really is from Winston Churchill, which is never, never, never give up. And that's the thing. We can't give up. We've come a long way. There's still a ways to go. But once again, you have to remain optimistic, even in spite of the fact that sometimes it can be, you can feel pretty much discouraged, where you feel like, wow, wish there was something happening. But let's try to do something about that, and let's hopefully this year we're going to start seeing some construction at some point, which would be a very positive sign. So in any case, let you know that we will be working on Part 21 on the Lackawanna cutoff. The weather hasn't been the greatest, so that's been a problem there. And now that it's winter officially, that doesn't make it easier, but we'll see. We'll hope to get that sooner or later out. And if there are any further updates, we'll certainly do them as well. So thank you for watching. I look forward to the next segment on the Lackawanna Cutoff.